Welcome to another episode of Tech Tips. I'm so excited to help you along with your entrepreneur journey. Today we're going to be discussing It's More Than a Logo, Mastering Your Brand's Most Powerful Asset. But before we get started, we must pay honor to the man, Dr. Eddie Connor, and this amazing Eagles Academy. If you have not joined, what are you waiting for? The Eagles Academy is for you, for your ideas, your impact, and your influence. It is led by Dr. Eddie Connor, who has been around for years empowering people all across the globe. So you need to make sure that you get in the room in 2025 where we are taking your brand, your business, your vision to the next level. And that's why this video was made. A logo isn't just a pretty symbol. It is your brand's fingerprint. But most people treat it like it's a profile picture. Today I'm going to show you how to actually use your logo the right way, so it works for you across digital, physical, and legal spaces. In segment 1, we're going to be talking about the logo toolkit. Get more than one logo made. Don't just get one version of it. You need a full suite. And today we're going to talk about which suite you need. As an example, we're going to be looking at Dr. Eddie's logo kit blueprint. Now, when he wanted his logos, we had to talk about different use cases that he was going to use. He didn't want his logo to be in color, which was fine, but we have it in black and we have it in white. If your brand or business needs it in full color, you want to consider that. We also wanted to make sure in our package we had a transparent background, and this is to help us with overlays and things like that. Also, we wanted to be able to have either a horizontal or stacked versions of his logo. As you can see, we have one where it is just his icons, and that's because we might use it for a different use case, as well as we might end up needing any of these which you would use for social media and browser tabs. So let's break down what we did with each of these file formats, starting with the main logo. So with his main logo, we wanted to make sure it had the tagline, ideas, impact, and influence. Then we wanted to make sure we had one that had no tagline, as well as the icon by itself. But not only that, we wanted to make sure all of these were transparent, so we made sure it was a PNG file in our package, as well as an SVG file for all three use cases. Now, I'm going to break out each one of these so you know what they mean. Starting with the PNG. Now, the PNG is best for digital use and transparency. As you can see, I have his logo, and with his logo, you can see that it's transparent, that we can clearly see it. That would be the same if we were to add it to this flyer. Now, what can end up happening is sometimes I see more often than not, more people are using their logos incorrectly because they have the background, which is usually a JPEG file, which you can see at the end. Now let's look at the JPEG file. Now, the JPEG file has a background. Now, the reason why most people would have that you think of like a photo, your pictures that you use for photography, right? So you want to make sure that the JPEG is something that you want to use on a design and it doesn't clash with any other things that you're doing it with. Typically, maybe a profile picture would be the best use case for it. Now let's look at the SVG file. This is scalable and it's clean and it's great for web and digital platforms. What I love about the SVG file is I can literally switch this to any color that I want. If I want it to be yellow, blue, black, I can change any of his logo elements into what I need. And that is going to be critical if you're going to be changing and matching your logos to other people, or you're sending them and they're giving you a shout out as a sponsor. Also, you want to get your vector files, which has to do with your PDF, the AI, and the EPS. Now, these are essential for high quality print, merch, and signage. Make sure you get your vector files when you are looking at different designers to help you, or illustrators to help you design your logo. Not all logo files are created, and that's why it's important to really look at the package that you're going to be getting to make sure you have the right things. So let's take a deeper dive into why you would need these files when it comes to vectors. With vector files, let's start with the meaning of it. It means that you can scale it Maintain integrity no matter the size. So if you were to create a large poster, you want to make sure you're giving the designer the right files so they're able to print it in high quality and it's not pixelated or there's not stretching and your logo looks completely different depending on what you're getting. Use cases would be for business cards, banners, apparel, vehicle wraps, billboards, or high-end printing. The Adobe Illustrator is the source file for designers, which is this one right here, for designers likely to be used to create your logo. So that's typically someone who is designing it from scratch and putting it all together. Then you have the EPS, which is the universal print file that many print places need to print your files. Then you have the PDF. Now these are vector-based for printing or flattened for screen viewing. So make sure you take your time. Pro tips, make sure that you have these vector files. These are gold standards and give you flexibility, scalability, and control over what the design looks like when you are getting other designs created with your logo or designs that you have. Without these vector files, you are stuck recreating your logo and paying pretty much so much money to convert these logos. Furthermore, store your vector files and your master files up so you can easily use them and send them over to the designers in what you need. Having a beautiful logo isn't enough if you don't have the right file format. So make sure you take your time to look at all of your files, make sure there's no blurriness, it's not pixelated, so when you use it on high-end items, your format of your files are correct. Now, let's talk about merch. Many people are trying to get into print on demand, or they want to have different revenue streams of income, or they're a speaker like Dr. Eddie. Now, the cool thing about when it comes to your logos and products and merch and signs is you can use these in versatile ways. And you want to make sure you're using your vector files, your PDF, the AI, and the EPS files, depending on your designer. As you can see, we have an example of a retractable banner. We have a sign that's actually movable with a transparent background where you can see it. Then we have a t-shirt. We also have a hat, a mug, and a custom mailer box, which later on in the presentation, I'm going to show you a cool vendor kind of help you with some of these. Now, let's say you are trying to get embroidery. Not every logo that has every color does your person who's designing that to get it embroidered has it. So you want to make sure you're able to give them color that they can actually change into embroidery versus it just being your PNG file. Also, you want to consider is managing your assets like a boss. Oh my God. So many people, when they are needing designs, they are sending me files from their phone or something that they got in their DMs. Unfortunately, when we send files that way, they actually get converted into different files such as JPEG, or they get transitioned into an HIC, which is high resolution. What I always tell people is you want to manage your assets. So the first thing that you want to do is create a centralized brand asset folder. And you want to name it your company name, your brand, whatever. But you want to create this folder so anything that you get from your designers when you get your logo created, you can add to this folder. When you get in there, what I tend to tell people is you want to change the file name to actually say native files, so you know that those are the original files. Then you want to create a duplicate folder that is shared, and then I always put the word shared so I know that it's shared. Now, you might need your files for different use cases. You want to be thinking about if you need to duplicate it and send it over to a designer for a collection, and you want to show them the red, the yellow, the blue. You want to look at your files and go ahead and transition them over, or just send over the SV version. Most designers know that they can transition it from there, but you might have a particular color that you want and you want to send it in that color. So you want to take time to look at your files and actually name all of your files. I usually name it whatever the brand is, the color, the type of dimension that it is, and it should have the file name at the end. If you don't see the file name at the end, you want to go ahead and convert it to whatever it needs to be just to make sure. Some other things that you want to consider is you want to organize them by web, print, social, merch. Now this is great if you're a brand and business that use multiple designs or you have multiple different brands within your brand and you want to keep everything organized for those who you are delegating tasks to. Oftentimes what I am seeing is that people will just send them a whole folder and it's not really organized, and it actually slows down production. Take time to actually sit down and say, these are what's approved on the web, these are what's approved for print, these are what we use for social media. You can always get a brand kit as well that is created that actually highlights and gives your workers and other people what you and your brand stand for using your brand style guide. This is a great area to add your logos to your brand style guide. And if you look at a different video that I did, you would see we talked about just using Canva for your brand color. So check that video out, and then you want to add on to this with your different logos and use cases that you have them, and ways that people can use them or not use them. There are companies that do not allow their logos to change to particular colors, and that might just be a legal thing. You want to make sure that anybody who's working with you is quite aware of what you have approved and how you would like your logo to be used, or if you're sending the logo to another brand to use in a presentation or a flyer, how you would like that, and you can send that all over with your brand style guide. Now let's look at where you can store your brand assets. I love Google Drive. The reason why I like Google Drive is it is very simple. Most people are used to Google Drive, which if you have a Google or a Gmail account or a Google Workspace, you'll be able to have access to Google Drive. You can also create folders. You can create shared drives if you have lots of assets. If you have your brand style kit, you want to be able to put that in, or your brand guide for your workers, you can do that as well. There's also a suggestion for Dropbox. Dropbox is another way to kind of even password protect it if you have a lot of files. A little bit of a setup when it comes to it. It's not straightforward, but there's plenty of videos between the two. Then if you are a major company and you have multiple brands that you need to do and look at, you might want to consider Brand Folder. Brand Folder is a great way to basically build out all of your brand assets just digitally and create a style guide for people to file, and you'll be able to just add it across. It's the same as shared drives or just share a folder. Now, I like all of these because, one, they're saved to the cloud. Two, you're able to access them from anywhere, whether you're at home or you're at your desktop. Three, you can also make sure that it has internal controls so no one's able to delete your assets. Four, I also love to tell people to make sure that you're reading into who you're sharing things with, always creating a shared duplicate folder so they don't get all of your assets, and you know who has what, as well as utilize the shared drive. So my number one recommendation will always be Google Drive, for sure. Now, the last thing that we're going to discuss before I go into a couple of demonstrations on what you can do with your logo with a couple of companies is you want to make sure you own it. So many people leave out this part when they are designing or looking for someone to design for them. You want to make sure that you are able to trademark your logo, especially if you have different versions. Each version most likely will have a cost depending on your state. So you want to hire a trademark lawyer or an attorney that can file the correct documents and whether or not your logo can be trademarked. This is why it is important to maybe avoid designers that use Canva or logo generators. Oftentimes these are a big red flag because you do not own those assets. So make sure when you are hiring someone, you're asking them, how are you creating my logo from scratch? Are you using icons and putting it together? You want to consider all of those things before you decide on going with that designer. As well as a lot of these places use generic and reusable elements that you do not own them, and you can't just go take it and get it trademarked and you'll find out, oh no, I can't use that. So I would suggest always hire a professional logo designer or artist who creates original work. I repeat that again. Hire a professional logo designer or artist who can create original work. This is where you're going to also see your packages change from someone saying, oh, I can create a logo, and they send you the PNG or the JPEG, but they didn't send you your vector files. That's an immediate flag to let you know that that person does not even offer that service because they're reusing elements. So make sure you take your time for that, as well as confirm that your designer isn't using any recyclable elements inside of there. Always consult with a trademark attorney to make sure you have legal ownership, and take your time finding the right one. Ask a couple of questions and make sure that people are not remixing your logos as well. Tips and closing remarks. A few tips that you want to consider is if you have a lot of files, a lot of these designers are probably going to send you your files with WeTransfer. You also want to make sure you might end up getting some logo animations created, which that's what we did for Dr. Eddie, and which was really cool, but we had to get all the files back with WeTransfer. So take your time to download all of those files. A lot of them are time sensitive and they can expire, as well as ask for revisions. So many people might change their mind, and because they didn't talk to the designer, they didn't know if they can get either a revision or if they can get a change in the way that their logo is created. So not all designers are created. Not everybody keeps all of those assets. So ask if that's something that you can do. The company that we use actually will go in and make these brand changes for you with a price, but they do make sure that you have all of the files and they use WeTransfer. Now I want to showcase one last thing before we jump into our other presentation. If you have not joined the Eagles Academy, what are you waiting for? Today is the day for you to take the big leap of faith with your vision, your ideas, your impact and influence, and soar into the Eagles Academy with us. We are led by the one and only Dr. Eddie Connor, who is teaching tonight. So you want to get in. Today we are talking about relational intelligence. You do not want to miss it. So I hope to see you there. So now let's jump into some of the different things that I want to show you. Looking at Google Drive, we created a brand asset folder. We also created a native brand folder, and we have a shared drive folder. In our native folder, we also have some other folders such as our logo animations, which gives people a chance to kind of put those behind videos, and it doesn't change the consistency. Now, let's go over to the vendor that you can use your logo with. So whether you have products or you're doing any sort of marketing, presentation is everything. Many people do not invest into their business when it comes to this area, and this is a game changer. I love Printing because they have a multitude of different products that you can use for your brand and business that are highly customizable. They have boxes, banners, poster cards, business cards, they have gift bags, they have magnetic shipping boxes, they have all types of things. I love it because the quality is precision, the experience is amazing. You can look at always talking to a professional that can help you. You can also get a free artwork check just to make sure that your files are ready and you like it, as well as they have designers back there. Well, if you want to get a custom mailer box created, you can click on the boxes. You'll be able to create custom inserts. What this is going to do is, with the custom mailer boxes, you're able to really scale it, get different sizes that you need, full color printing. The quality is A1. They use recyclable and sustainable sources, easy 3D design models if you want to design it inside of there. You can also make sure that your free artwork is inspected. So take your time to kind of look at different ways that you can utilize your logo, and that is why you want to make sure from the very beginning it looks nice, so when it gets to this level you are able to really scale your brand and business, as well as save some coins. I really love their pricings when it comes to buying in bulk, and the more you buy, the cheaper it is. I'll have another video where we're going to talk about pricing and looking at how things, shipping and printing, we're going to be talking about that as well, so you are able to get the best price, minimum order quantity if you're using other vendors. Some other things I like about Printing is you also can send your designs, templates to the designer that you need for the custom work that you're doing. So let's say you want to create a design, you can look at the design. They'll have a custom design templates that they can use to help you out, as well as you can reach out to their live chat support and let them know, hey, I like this product and I want to make sure I have the right dimensions and the right sizes and what it's going to look like. If you have different products, you want to kind of measure what that's going to look like. Maybe go into Hobby Lobby and get like a basic box and a ruler and look at what do I want it to look like, so then they can help you a lot further. But take your time and really go through you printing. They have everything that you can think of. They have tablecloths. They have all the way down to merchandise. And the cool thing is your designs can sit here in the back and really give you a chance to kind of take your time and build out a great collection and really roll out your best foot forward. Many people do not take the time in these areas, and as we go through, we're going to be able to build upon all of these things and really make your brand stand out and be unique. And people not only buy your logo, they buy you. They buy the presentation of you. So take your time to go through here. Make sure you are doing your due diligence when it comes to your logo, and always protect your assets. Make sure that when it comes to your designs, you want to keep it nice, neat. If it's going to be colorful, you want to make sure you have different variations. Thank you guys so much for listening to this. It's been an amazing time. I hope these tips and tricks help you with your logo, and I cannot wait to help you next. Now, as a bonus thing for staying all the way through the end, I have not forgotten about our logo ready checklist. If you are ready to take your brand and business to the next level, go ahead and click the link in the bio and in the description in the comment section of this video, where I've put together a logo ready checklist to help you go through, hire a designer, and really look at what things that you are going to need to do before you hire that designer. Thank you guys so much for listening. Feel free to replay, share this with other people, and join the